Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our December 18th workshop. In case you are joining, looking for the infrastructure and construction workshop from HHFT, they canceled that session tonight, so we are moving on to village business. Under announcements, we are happy to report that the reservoirs, our overall water supply is at 82.18%. So we can lift the emergency order and go back to regular usage. Thank you to everybody who helped us get back on track, homeowners, business owners, institutions like Haldane who helped spread the word. And but I would just say that judicious use benefits all of us long term. So please, back as you were, but please be mindful of your water use on a regular basis. Opportunity to request a vote to add or modify an agenda item. I would like to make a motion for an executive session. The village attorney asked me to give the trustees an update on something, and I left my note in the room, so let me just give me a second to make sure I'm stating it correctly. The motion is to enter executive session to update the trustees on information relating to future investigation and criminal prosecution, A. B, collective bargaining negotiations, and C, I can find it, update on pending litigation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Sounds like a lot, but it should be quick. And we're moving on to board business. A is volunteer firefighter cancer benefit program. This is a standard. I think we do every year. You want to give us some context, Greg?
Yes, so New York State requires that municipalities and jurisdictions that have a volunteer firefighter corps, volunteer ambulance corps, have this cancer benefit in the event that their volunteers do end up sick. So the benefit is offered through the Hartford Insurance Company. It's the same coverage as last year. All we are doing is renewing coverage for another year.
And this is an authorization for me to sign, right?
Correct.
So
Do we
discussion? Go ahead.
do we currently have the basic plan and the enhanced plan? What do we currently use?
Great question.
Right, I'm not sure if it's,
I mean,
if it's these two things total or nobody's questioning paying it, just making sure we understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like two different plans. The enhanced plan, the benefit is that they give they give the same benefits, but for all cancer forms. Whereas for the basic option one, it's just for specific.
Oh, it's looking for us to choose basic.
Yeah, we have to
I
choose.
missed that one, but yep, I got it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out the difference
What do we
between,
have?
because they look exactly the same, except the enhanced plan is slightly more expensive, but it seems like it offers a whole lot more for our
I would think you'd want the
firefighters.
enhanced plan.
Well, could we, options here are to choose enhanced or to authorize signature that's the continuation of last year's benefit. I don't know what last year's benefit was. And thoughts on either of those options?
I mean, oh, here, the current plan selection is the enhanced plan.
Oh, where did you see that?
It's
Right at
the
the
second
top.
page at the top. Yeah, I would support
Oh,
moving
yeah,
forward
yeah.
with the enhanced plan,
Right.
just because cancer is such a high risk factor of
Yeah.
being a firefighter.
So somebody needs to make a motion.
I'll make a motion for the mayor to sign, the, volunteer firefighter cancer benefit program proposal for the enhanced plan for 2025.
Second. Any
One-
further discussion? Yep.
Yeah, just there's an error on the second page. It says for the January 1st, 2024, to December 31st, 2024 plan year, and I probably mean 2025.
Oh, right, they've got effective date above at 2024 and then below.
Okay.
So we need to
it
make
should be
sure it says
25.
1/1/25. Good catch.
Yeah,
12/31.
so I'll make a motion to amend my motion to include 25.
so we'll ask for an updated one to sign.
Mhm.
So Eliza made a motion. Did you second?
I did, but yeah, I guess I need to second again, because she
Well-
amended it.
So do you both accept the modification?
Yes.
So then, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for catching those items. Next is, there's actually the agenda says food scrap IMA with Nelsonville, it's actually with Phillipstown. So we have the Laura and Greg work to update, you wanna cue us in, Laura, one more time?
Sure, so this is the same agreement, just the dates have been changed. That we adopted a number of months ago. It's to continue our pilot program of the food scrap recycling pickup. And in partnership with Phillipstown. So the idea is that we found some additional funding that will take us to the end of the fiscal year. That's when this ends, and then hopefully, in our budget discussions, we'll be able to identify funding to continue this, and then we could do these IMAs on a full year basis.
Discussion? We're doing it,
Yeah, and again, it's $250 a month.
so we don't need to read it into the record, but we need an authorization to sign.
Make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign, approve the extension of food scrap IMA with Phillipstown.
Second. Favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Laura, for saying that. Okay, and last is the proposal from Green Plan that we tabled last month, to hire Green Plan to assist with the EIS review proposal. Discussion.
So there's a couple things in here. For one thing, I think we've already sent the letter for the request for the
And,
extension.
and I drafted the letter and the village attorney reviewed it.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
like, you're so inept, no, not inept, in-depth with a bit able, so very able.
Adept.
Adept. Those words are too similar, excuse me. Adept at drafting letters
Freudian.
and, forgive me. It's not meant to be. But like, a lot of these things that he's listed, I feel like, weren't you a land use and planning consultant
I
in
have
your
a
past
PhD in
life?
land use planning, but I also have other things to do besides the DGEIS.
I get it, but I just think that you are faster than most people and you have already like started doing the work before he could even get a contract to him, or we couldn't before we could get a contract to him. And it's really compiling of our comments, which probably won't be super clear because there's so many different opinions on the board unless we choose to go a route of like voting for one statement or something. But I think that we have a really tiny budget. We see that every year at budget season, we don't have enough money for the things that we need to do. There isn't a grant for this the way we had a grant for him last time. And so I don't really support spending $8,000 or more on a consultant for something that, like, this is not a project that we have control and say over. We're just providing our feedback. So that's my position.
Okay, thank you for the vote of confidence, but that is not something that I feel that I could do on my own. And it's not simply compiling comments, it is reviewing the document and identifying impacts and comparing it back to the FEAS and the scoping document. It is looking at impacts and possible mitigations and are they sufficient? I can't do that by myself and do everything else I have to do all at once. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
We'll all be
However-
doing that together.
Yeah, but I don't believe we have the capacity to do it all by ourselves. Others?
I'll just note two things. One is that, Green Plan's taking the opportunity to raise our rate from $120 an hour to $175 an hour, which is quite a big jump.
That 110, or that rate that you first note is from 2010.
That's very much recently paid, right?
he gave us the courtesy of not finishing off the work he began under the contract at 210. But that is not the current market rate, and it's not the current fee schedule.
Thing, that the fact, a previous rate was 110, but, to 100 and whichever, to 175, so just significant jump, not incremental. And then also, it's not clear to me because he keeps talking about coordinating.
175, from
175.
120.
Almost
He
a
keeps-
50% jump. In
Because he
rate.
was charging at
14
rates
years.
from 2010, it's 14 years
Inflation
ago.
hasn't doubled.
It's been 14 years. I mean,
So-
I don't think we shouldn't be quibbling over how much he charges. Like, that's his business.
We were lucky that he honored a grant amount that dragged on and on and on from a board that was not us, that he granted us that rate, but people deserve to be paid what they are worth, and his rate in 2010 is not a reasonable rate for a professional in 2024, 14 years later. Do we have any substantive comments?
I did have a second comment.
Go ahead.
That quite a few times, he mentions coordinating with Phillipstown and Nelsonville. The impact to the larger region is gonna be a lot larger than just to Cold Spring, and we discussed last week about, at least some people having a desire to focus on Cold Spring, specifically, since that's our board. So, it's not really clear to me whether the amount he's proposing, which is $8,500, is for all of Phillipstown, including the two villages, or just Cold Spring? So-
Phillipstown, I have the same question about how this is formulated. Phillipstown is in session tonight. They are pursuing their own planner. They're pursuing, I can't remember her name, Bonnie, someone. She worked on their master plan. They're going their own route. I think this would need to be clarified, that he's focusing particularly on Phillipstown, on Cold Spring. I think he made a good point last week. Obviously, I didn't go back and ask him to modify after discussion last week. But I think that we would have to read, when we sign the contract, we need to make sure that was clear in the contract. I agree with you.
But would it be cheaper if it's only focusing, I mean, if he's thinking about the town and we're.
I don't think he is thinking
I
about
think
the
it's
town.
just coordination. I read that as being in touch with the other municipalities
too.
on what are the issues that you've identified, and, like, I think just sort of along the way being in touch with them.
We are
I don't,
connected.
which, I don't know if that is, so I don't think that it's on looking at issues outside of the village. I don't know. That's not like that kind of coordination, I feel like we already do. I don't know if that is a critical piece. I think that a lot of the other pieces are really important. I think that he understands, I mean, I said this last week, but like, I think that he understands the secret process, and I think he understands the role that our existing comprehensive plan and local waterfront revitalization strategy like play in the perspective that we bring. And so I think all of that is really helpful. And I think that he would provide input in addition to the ones that we're doing. So it's not to replace our own input.
That's right.
It's another piece in the same way that the boards would be providing.
From an area of expertise and 40 years of
Yeah.
working with seeker.
But I do wonder, I mean, we could, for instance, because it includes that kind of coordination that maybe we don't need as much, and it includes writing the letter that has already been written, maybe we lower the maximum amount, because I guess it's that we don't have time, I think, to wait. We can't wait until we get another
He needs to. get
another
started.
proposal
Yeah.
in early January. He would need to get started. So we could say that whatever the.
We could say
what
not,
the
right
total
now
amount-
it's.
We could
reads
say not
to
greater
exceed.
than,
Right now it says not to exceed
we could say,
8,500,
yeah,
but
so
we
we
could
could
drop
say
it
the
if you wanted
changes that
to.
we want and say not to exceed $7,000 or something like that, and then see what he can do within that,
I
something
just
like that.
That's an excellent suggestion. I want to remind everyone that Michelle confirms that we have significant savings in our employee health benefits that would be ample funding to cover this. And as I said last week, I think the long-term costs of impacts that aren't appropriately mitigated is a lot higher than $8,500, long-term. So we have to think big picture here. Tweets?
Well, I mean, I don't disagree that the price is high and we are so limited in our budget. I'm glad to hear that we have some wiggle room. And it's, Michelle who's giving us that, that wiggle room, that makes me feel more comforted. I like the suggestion that Laura made about, potentially just lowering the price and saying, you know, not to exceed whatever number we decide on. I think that actually could be a way to sort of compromise all of our potential issues with this. I do think, though, that, you know, while I can and will, you know, be going through this, I have no background in planning. Although I have had the luxury and pleasure of reading multiple DGEISs in the past. I am not a technical person. I cannot look at information regarding, I don't know, coastal zone management program consistency and, you know, hazardous materials assessment. I don't have that background. I could hazard guesses, but I don't think anyone wants that. So I would prefer to have an actual professional do that. But I am sensitive to the fact that it is, you know, it is costly, but this is the position that we are in. So if we're gonna do it right, I think we do it right the first time. So I would support, with a modification to the amount.
And I don't know what the right modification is, because, you know, he's estimating 45 hours. What I don't want to do is cut off, what is the expression? Cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
But we could reduce the number of hours or the top cap. And then say, you know, he would have to return. I mean, he has that anyway. If it would be, what does he say about coming back? If additional options are requested, please let me know. If my attendance, he said something about coming back, we would have to do change orders if it went exceeded. Will not be exceeded without prior authorization from the village. So I don't know what number is right. I know it's a giant document, and he's also gonna need to be consulting with environmental planners and traffic engineers, so I don't know what the right number is to drop it to. If someone wants to throw something out, I think we're kind of guessing.
Not a simple, I'm a little uncomfortable guessing at a number and guessing at a scope, and then voting and approving it.
So then
You
why
can-
don't
you
we,
can,
Right?
yes, you can, two options. You can abstain from the vote, or you can put a proposal forward. I am, he has to get started. We have to come to a decision tonight. If you're not comfortable, you can abstain, you can vote no. But he has to get going on this. So $7,000, $8,000. I feel more comfortable working with the proposal we have. And not cutting ourselves short. Thoughts?
I think it's reasonable to assume that writing a letter would take only a few hours, and so if we dropped it to 8,000, that would sort of take out the letter piece and be, remain the rest of the work. And then I think we can just kind of qualitatively explain, better understand the relation, like what he has in mind about the coordination with the other municipalities, and explain that our focus is on Cold Spring proper. But, you know, maybe if there's an efficiency to speaking with the other consultants, then, from Phillipstown, then he should do that. That would make sense to me.
So your proposal is to approve an amount for green plan not to exceed 8,000 without the village board consent
Yes. And to
or authorization. And to remove the letter
remove
writing.
The letter from the scope of work.
Someone, that is your motion. Second,
I'll second that.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I don't know.
Don't know. Thank you. Ayes have it. Okay, so now, we have bills. Who has bills?
I do. Approval of bills batch number 7681 in the amount of $121,199.25.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for doing those. Okay, and now, so now for the few quick items that we need to discuss from John. Make sure I get the language right, and easily this time, I'd make a motion to enter executive session for 3 conversations. 1, discuss information relating to potential investigation or prosecution. 2, pending litigation, and 3, collective bargaining negotiations. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so it's 7:21. We're going into executive session. We'll be turning off the camera and we will not be taking any action. You're welcome to hang out and join us after we come back online. But this is substantively the end of the session.
We are back.
It is 8:48. I make a motion to exit executive session. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Confirming no decisions made during executive session and none to be made having come out. You've arrived just in time to be at the end of our agenda.
Yeah.
Is there anybody left on, there's nobody left online, right?
There's nobody left, online. No, we're the only ones.
Yeah.
Did you have a? Okay, so with that, I will make a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry to make you sit for nothing.
Hi.
but-